Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pullbox Pals. It's been a couple minutes, but we're back, and here to my left, I guess, is my buddy Monk.
My
And
left, McGiff.
my left, I guess.
My left, McGiff.
Yeah, yeah.
I came in
It's just
real.
how sometimes I bring in a weird like attempt at a Southern drawl for no reason at all. Like I'm not, but
Yeah, you're not even
um,
remotely Southern.
I'm not even close. Apparently the story going around about me, or no, sorry, it's not a no. It's, the hot take on me is that I give off California vibes, and I'm like, I've never lived in California in my life, but
uh,
um,
I can see that you kind of have like a very you talk very relaxed and very I could if you started being like, yeah, brah, like I
yeah,
wouldn't be
dude.
surprised.
Oh, hey, bro.
Brah, how's it going? I mean, I shouldn't make fun of West Coasters for us East Coasters fucking not being able to talk. You know,
Yeah,
we just sound like we're all missing teeth, and mostly it's
we
because
don't
we're
we
all
don't want
missing
to
teeth.
reignite the East Coast West Coast battle.
No, ever since
No.
Pac and Suge both bit the bullet on that one, we've been living in complete peace.
Yeah, you're right.
We've hey, I mean, well,
Let's get back into this. Let's start here. Let's go. Hey, we want to give a big thank you to the IWEP Network for hosting
woo,
us on this channel. They got tons of other podcasts that they also live stream. Oh my gosh, Tornado Tag. That's the
yeah,
one that I've been trying to pay attention to. I've been enjoying those chats. So
yeah, those
please
guys are
check.
doing some. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just go check out the IWEP Network website, and you can check out their other podcasts.
Yeah, those
But
guys are doing great stuff. They're making a lot of progress. You know, they're all the some of the dudes that are on it are wrestlers. Some of them are announcers and stuff. So it's so cool to be. I mean, I tweeted this last week or 2 weeks ago rather after our episodes. If you want to see my Twitter, go at Stoned and Nerdy. But I just tweeted, I love comics and the community it creates because I just genuinely do, and it's so cool to see that. Like, I think I don't know. It's just because of the internet, people have been able to find so many
yeah,
people of like-minded nature, and just been able to yeah,
well, it's a very engaging community, and like people who might follow our posts might see it, but like you and I do get to have conversations with some of the creators
yeah,
just through like Instagram. It's not like I'm sitting down like this with them. Maybe
hmm
someday we can, but like, yeah, I've had the author, the artist and the writer for
the
oh my
farthest place
gosh,
from here.
the furthest place from here. Like they've sent some conversation my way. Same
Yeah,
with Righteous Thirst for Vengeance.
nice.
Both of them, and so just if they listen, just thank you for even acknowledging us. And
Yeah,
but it is a great community to be a part of, and it is also it's big enough to where like we can do it on mediums like this, where we can do it over Instagram, we can do it as a live stream. So
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, that is definitely one of the highlights of being like able to exist in a technological time like this is that we can like have and that's let's try to think of the good things of the internet, and this is definitely one of them. I mean, you and I
yeah,
wouldn't be able to do what we do now.
yeah.
So, and what do
We
we do here, Mark?
what do we do? We talk about what our pull box
Uh,
pulls.
so I
The
guess I'm
ones
first.
that the ones that we got today, and then we'll talk about some that we've read over the last 2 weeks because it has been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I honestly don't even remember what I got last week, so I'm not going to spend time trying to be like I got this week. I'm just going to focus on what I got this week and just kind of what I've been reading in between
Yeah,
our last episode and now. But dude, I this week was a hot week for comics. I don't know if you
I,
noticed.
and the weather.
Well, don't get me going. It's 91 degrees right now. And I got a
Well,
fan and a window cracked. So you're going to watch me get more glistening as this thing goes on.
same boat, man. Just
Well,
different part of the world.
boat.
Yeah,
um, yeah, but there was like a bunch of new comics out this week. Marvel had a bunch of
yeah.
releases this week. I mean, like it looked like
I
most
had a
years were
big
Marvel.
haul. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of Star Wars again.
That'll get you.
I mean,
Classic marketing of Star Wars.
yeah, classic me, man. Yeah, there's just a lot of Star Wars going on right now. And we'll get into a little bit of that later down the episode. So yeah, but yeah, man, let's see. What do you got?
I like you try to organize my comics kind of in by the publishers, but I'm realizing all the publishers I have, all the comics I have are by different publishers. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Yeah. So let's get into it. I've been loving this comic. I say that, and then I'm going to be like, I don't think I read issue 3 yet, but this is issue 4 of Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And you've been digging that series.
Dude, I mean, I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it again. If you like either of these properties, you need to be reading this comic book. It is so enjoyable. Yeah, the art is so much fun. It's just so cool because it's like there's just so much like non-traditional panel work in here. Like, oh, wow. I mean, yeah, like it's such the art is like literally overflowing off of every page.
I like how I got closer to the screen as if you're like able to put it more in front of my face. Look at this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's been so enjoyable just to see these worlds collide. And we talked about them when it first came out. I'm not I don't have a big history really with either of these properties, but it's just so cool to just see them done well. So and actually I've always forget that this is by Cullen Bunn, who has done some other work that I either like or dislike, but it doesn't matter because I really like this. So yeah, that's just the first one. This I am very excited about. As I was just looking at it, the premise of the story came back to me, and so I'm excited to dig into this. And it also follows under our ethos as a comic book podcast and what we kind of find ourselves doing here a lot, which is vampire comics. And this is She Bites #1 from Scout Comics.
Nobody can see my face right now, but jaw dropped. I wish. Oh, man.
Did you see this?
No, I'm going to order one.
Okay. Well, let me explain the premise to you while you order one there, Mr. Mark. There's about a 9-year-old girl who is a vampire, and and apparently it takes place in Pittsburgh in 1970.
That's in your neck of the woods.
Let me just say real quick that the writer is Hedwig Hale. The artist is Alberto Hernandez R. The letter and production artist is Dave Lamphere. Then we're just gonna go into all that the Scout comic stuff. But the premise is that there's this 9-year-old girl. She's a vampire, and one of the other characters is like a suicidal teenage boy, something like that, who's like kind of just kind of at the end of his rope, ready to just give it in. And then he starts babysitting this 9-year-old vampire. And I would assume that just shenanigans ensue, chaos, your typical 3-act, narrative.
Yeah.
But Scout Comics has just been putting out such good stuff. We are both big fans. The art in this looks great. Like I just, my hat always goes off to Scout Comics for just having such great original artists, such cool concepts, and just
even a lot of the stories are very original.
Yeah, 100%. So I think here's Scout Comic. Here's a logo for you, or a slogan: Scout Comics, where originality is born. There you go.
You can have that one for free.
You can have that for free because it's not that good after I said it out loud. Okay, so here's another comic that I don't know anything about. I don't think I could even tell you what the premise of this is about, but I don't think I have ever bought anything from this publisher. None of the names look familiar, but the art looked cool, so I picked it up. It is called Blink, and it is from Oni Comics. Oni Press, rather.
Yeah.
Maybe I have, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's kind of coming back to me, but this is by Christopher Sabella. It's written by him, illustrated by Hayden Sherman, which wasn't Aren't they the same person?
Yeah.
No.
Could you hold that one up again?
Yeah.
Blink.
Blink.
I like that cover a lot.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of drew me to it, was just a really cool cover, but also the art looks really good.
Well, it's also just like with all the eyeballs, it's kind of enchanting. The cover.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would love for, like I said, I don't know anything about this comic, but I really hope that it's good because I think it would be a comic that would look good on a wall.
Yeah.
So if only I had a wall of comics.
If only.
If only.
What are you gonna do about that, man?
You know what I'm gonna do about it? I'm going to just stand and flip a coin, but not any sort of coin there, Mark. I'm going to flip a silver coin.
A silver coin.
I fell back in love with, not that I ever fell out of it, but issue number 11 reminded me how much I love this comic. It was so good. Issue number 11
well, and
was
it had been a little bit too between 10 and 11.
Drinks.
I mean, it was a end of an arc with issue 10, and so there's always a longer gap between the ending and the finishing of an arc. But yeah, no, you're right. Like issue 11 just very much reinstilled like what issue 1 felt like for me, where I was just 100%. Like, I love this so much. Like, and horror is where it's at right now as well. And so this is a horror anthology series that revolves around the silver coin.
And the art is so good. Like, I think the art does such a good job of carrying the world, of just like making, because it's like grimy. It's very like, you feel it. The art kind of feels like it would be very like it would be slimy if you touched it.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Like, that's not a dig at all. It's a compliment, because it brings this kind of gross, weird, scary world to life, you know?
Yeah.
So I am 100% ready to dive into this. I don't even know what it's about. Like, this moment right now is the longest I've looked at the cover. I didn't even realize that there were soldiers on there.
I guess I should just, for time's sake, I do have mine right here as well.
Nice. And you got the same cover?
I do, and I love this. Again, this cover, it's very it's just another like daunting and like seductive cover. Like, I love how these kind of snowflakes are kind of out of focus on here. Just kind of, but narrowing in on like, I don't know, like obviously people can't see it, and
maybe they can, maybe
it's yours better. Yeah. But just honing in on this center appears to be a Nazi.
Or at least like something akin to a Nazi.
Zombie Nazis.
They might not do like full like swastika. They might do like something that looks like a off-brand swastika.
Yeah.
There you
go. Knock off Nazis.
Oh, that tickled my funny bone. You know what else tickles my funny bone? The Joker. Because he jokes.
You got the Joker?
No. I got Batman. So I got Batman. This is issue 125. This is the first issue of Chip Zdarsky's run on this comic.
I should have. If I had seen that your boy there, Chip, was writing that, I may have
picked up on it. But dude, like I just opened to this. Look how great that looks.
Oh, that's the Danny DeVito penguin.
It's very much so a Danny DeVito penguin. But
I love me some Danny DeVito, man.
Yeah, but like look at, like, hopefully that's not a spoiler. Like, this art is fantastic.
Well, I guess I have to go back there tomorrow.
Yeah, because you missed a couple, so you're gonna have to go back. But unfortunately, it doesn't have. I'm having a hard time finding the names of the people who wrote it. Just seeing first names, but I know Chip Zdarsky is the writer. Yeah, I just have last names on the cover here is Jimenez, Orgata, Morez, and Garallo. I'm sorry, I probably pronounced like all of those wrong. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm seeing the penguin in here, and the reason that I said the Joker is because I opened it at one point and saw that there was the 3 Jokers, and I'm trying to. There you are.
Yeah. So now I can.
I mean, this has been out for a while in DC, but there's apparently 3 Jokers canonically now. Yeah. So it's a whole thing, and I don't really feel like going into it. But
That's all
essentially,
right.
during
I'll dig into it.
during some crossover, Batman was able to sit on some like all-knowing God chair, and when he did, he asked the chair who the Joker was, and it answered that there was three. And then it kind of showed three different Jokers from three different eras. So maybe this will go into it. I hope that I can just. I mean, this is issue, like I said, 125. So
Well, and
I
I
mean,
think it is like a highlight issue too. I think because it
okay.
was popping up for me on all of my like comic book stuff that I do. So it seems like it's kind of like a special feature thing.
I think it is because it was $7. So I would imagine, and it's thick.
Yeah.
I don't know how many pages, but it's definitely like the quality is a little good. Unfortunately, my copy had like a little rip up here.
Man, I hate when that happens. I had one of the comics that I had gotten 2 weeks ago that I finally got to read when I got back from my trip. One of the pages in the middle had like a nice tear through it, and I was just like, how does this even happen?
Yeah, it's such a bummer. But I looked through, like there was a couple other, and they were all variants, but it was again one of the situations where like the variants just like weren't doing it for me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna I'll just buy the normal cover, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the comics that I got this week. That was just
All
5
right.
for me.
Just 5. I mean, I think I have just 5 Marvel, and then five more. I think.
Well, let's see what you got, buddy.
Well, we already talked about one. Well, you talked about it, and I also had it. So I guess we got 9 to go.
There
I
you
guess
go.
I'll work my way towards Marvel. But I have from Behemoth.
Yeah.
Illusion in which book 2 or issue 2 came out.
Awesome.
I don't know. I remember being intrigued by the premise of the first one. And I think I had also stated that I will see where this issue goes to see if I continue with it. But if it's one of those 4-issue series, I might just stick with it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into it just because I do vaguely remember like issue 1 was it kind of set the premise of the illusion witch. I forget her name, but she struggles with like the grief of like the loss of her dad and the loss of her son. And goes the route people like to go. She has a dark night of the soul, but then it turns out all the magic that she's been doing for humans. Magic for Humans. That's a great show. Have you ever watched that?
No.
No, you should. You'd love
Okay.
it. But anyways, she does her shows, but it turns out a lot of like what she has like learned to do is actually good in like this like other mystical like realm that she discovers. So we'll see how it goes. I'll probably review it for next week.
Yeah, so I should probably read issue 1 then, because I never got around to it, and I still like it's still in my to read pile, and I genuinely do want to give it a go. I just was one of those ones that keep kind of getting shuffled to the bottom of the to read pile.
Yeah. And then one comic I want to mention that I missed out on, and my shop didn't get it in for some reason, is Aftershocks: The Calculated Man issue 2 came out. If people remember when issue 1 came out, I was super stoked about it. After I read it, I loved it. So I'm very excited about it. It just, unfortunately, I didn't get it today. And, that just happens sometimes. And It's okay because I got a nice big list here. So let's do, I got one DC comic. I didn't see you pull this one up.
Which one?
Jurassic League number 3.
I got that last week, I think. I did get it.
Huh. Maybe this was just like stuck in my box because I went in on the day I got back from my trip and got what was in there. And
I'm pretty sure I got it. Now I'm like questioning myself.
Well, no, I had it on release for today, but
okay.
I don't know.
So I mean, it might be today, but yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, I'm loving Jurassic League. I'm excited to get into that one. I might even read that tonight.
It's a good bedtime one. Unlike
it
is the Silver Coin. It is. It's so much
fun. It is
fun.
a good bedtime one. Then next is let's get into the Marvel. issue number 1 of a new Defenders series called Defenders Beyond came out.
All right.
I like this kind of like 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, like retro cover, and it's really the only reason I got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, on the front here it just says Loki leads the new lineup: Blue Marvel, America Chavez, Tigra, and I don't even know how to say it, but it's like Taaya or Taaya.
Tialia. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't read that.
I
Let me see the cover again.
may put it closer. Just kidding.
Yeah. Move it closer. That looks great.
Yeah.
I think I saw that. Or no, I think I'm thinking of the all new Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, that came out. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm thinking of. But that looks really cool. I'd
Oh.
like the Defenders, because they just did a Defenders arc that had a different lineup. That was Doctor Strange. And that's the only person I can remember. I might have it somewhere. No, it's in my pull box. I wouldn't be able to pull it out.
Yeah. Well, and then next I got the next issue of Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood.
Nice.
This is just fun. This is another good like bedtime one. Like, right, if you just get in bed and you're waiting on the lady to get in bed, or maybe she's already in bed reading, and you're like, well, I guess I'll read too. Like I've been enjoying Moon Knight for those reasons.
Well, yeah, that one's less of a bedtime one. I wouldn't want to read that right before going to bed. But yeah, I'll probably read the Silver Coin before going to bed tonight. So who am I to say anything?
Yeah. Then let's get into my final Marvel. We got some Star Wars ones. So we got issue 4 of Han Solo and Chewbacca. I've been liking this series. If you haven't been keeping up with it, I'll just kind of give you a little snippet that it's kind of it kind of feels like they're playing on this kind of Indiana Jones and Last Crusade storyline a little bit, in that like Han Solo finds his dad.
Okay, yeah.
In the first issue, and then like
Right,
the second and
remember.
third issue. Yeah. And so they're going on a journey, the two of them, with like Chewbacca. And then on the cover of this one, you see that they're meeting up with another famous Wookiee, Black Chrysanthemum.
Oh, is that it? Oh, God,
Yeah.
that looks like a nice cover.
Yeah,
I didn't get number 3. I might have to at this point.
Yeah.
No. I jumped off of the Obi-Wan, and I don't know, man. I guess there's a part of me that's like, I just want to walk away from Star Wars until I feel like I can don't have to worry about everything, the quality control.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, flow off of Star Wars so much, anyways. You want to see
and a lot of people do.
I have glasses now.
Oh, sorry. You wore them last episode.
Yeah, I forgot them this week.
Well, you can still put them on.
There we go. I had to text my girlfriend to go get them and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So did she just slide them to you? Like,
yeah. She just walked in. She's all sly. Didn't even notice it.
Wow.
Yep.
Way to go, Jamie.
Yep. But sorry, I interrupted you there.
Oh, no worries. And then
last Star Wars comics.
Yeah, we're talking Star Wars. Oh yeah. So like what I was gonna say is like, I'm kind of at this point with Star Wars where like I know like what the original, like the first 6 movies mean to me. I know what some of the comics and some of the books that came out, I know what they mean to me. They're all legend now. The movies aren't. Like, yeah, I get it. We have this new canon, and I'm just taking it in stride. I try to take Star Wars a little bit more seriously than most things, because I do just want to have like a good idea and solid opinion on it, and I want to keep like what George's whole thing with it is like, this is for like kids, and to dream of things that are hopeful. Right. And when he says that, I think he's talking just about the child in all of us. Mm-hmm. And so like that's what Star Wars is for me, is like there is the child in me, and like I love the stories. I love hearing more about Luke, Leia, and Han and Chewie. I love hearing more about what Darth Vader / Anakin has to go through. And so like I'm enjoying the content. Do I think it's all 100% great? No, it's been very hit or miss. Something too that got brought up recently is there's been a trick with the shows and the movies, the new ones since the Disney takeover, that George Lucas didn't use at all in the first 6 films. And it kind of gave me this like, okay, that's how they're doing it and getting people excited. They're using flashbacks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
George Lucas never used flashbacks. He would only mention things that happened in the past, because like your memory should have that. But like the use of flashbacks is a trick that the movie industry uses to kind of get you excited, because you do immediately wonder like, oh, you know, what's the footnote on this? And they're like,
Right.
oh, here's your flashback. So, but the comics to me is where Star Wars is at. And that's why I get all the Star Wars comics, because they are just, yeah, no, they're not 100% great, but I really enjoy the Darth Vader series. I love Dr. Aphra. I love the Bounty Hunters. And speaking of Darth Vader, I do have issue 25 right here. These I got 2 variant covers.
Oh, nice.
So this
variant
is
covers.
Yeah, so this is one of them.
Nice.
And then the other one is just like that one I got that had Vader. It's got Darth Krall on it. So Darth Krall, he's only been mentioned 2 times in all of like Star Wars canon, like new canon.
Yeah.
He was mentioned in Dooku the Jedi Lost, the book. It's like it's his first mention. It was like a flashback to him, and it's also like his lightsaber is on display at like the Jedi Temple. He and like, oh, let me show that to you again. His lightsaber is a gold hilt.
Oh, interesting.
So it's just, he has a really nice one. But
we all got a nice hilt.
We all got a nice hilt.
Golden.
But hilt. his like first like appearance though was in High Republic issue number 7.
Okay.
Kiev Trennis, the kind of the main Jedi of the comics that we follow.
How old is this guy?
I mean, I think he came in a vision to Kiev Trennis in that issue, and I can't.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think it was like a vision of something to come. I think it was a vision of something that had already maybe happened.
Right.
I had brought up that issue to kind of see that, but I never got into it because anyway.
Yeah.
So Star Wars 25 came out, Darth Vader came out, and then Star Wars 25 also came out. And this one, if you look at the cover, I mean, you got Darth Vader, you got the Grand Inquisitor, you got one of the Inquisitors as well. You also have Kylo Ren on the cover with Poe Dameron, and then you also have Anakin and Obi-Wan. So this is another one of those that it's like a special issue as far as I can tell, because issue 24 was the end of the overall arc,
right?
For the, and so issue 25 I think is going to be, I haven't looked in it yet. I don't know. I haven't read much about it. I've only seen the cover, but I think that there's going to be 3 stories in here. So actually,
nice.
I
guess that would make sense.
Speaking of, there is going to be 3 stories, and I never mentioned any one of the creators for any comic I just talked about. So yeah, there's 3 different artist groups here.
Gotcha.
So obviously, so this one has Sewell did one of them. If you don't know what I mean by Sewell by now, then just go back to past episodes because I talk about him a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So there's Sewell, and then let's see, there's a guy named Nodo.
Oh no, one of my comics just fell.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. I'm looking at Darth Vader.
I guess we're just gonna leave that down.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, we got a Charles Sewell as the writer for one of them, and this Phil Nodo, and I can't find his full name. Anyways, I apologize for not mentioning all the artists' names, but I'll do better next time. And when we get into the ones we talk about, I'll obviously be talking about all those creators. So,
well, do you want to? I think we're only talking about one comic. Oh no, 2. Do you want to talk about the Ward first or 8 Billion Genies?
Let's do the Ward.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Why don't you kick that off so I can page through it real quick and remember what I thought about it.
So what often happens, issue 2 is either going to like greatly surpass issue 1, or it's going to kind of carry on the same tone. And I feel like issue 2 here of the Ward kind of carried on the same tone.
Yes.
But it was, again, you have to remember this is kind of like an ER type thing, and every ER episode has the same tone. So I hope that the stories kind of get a little bit more grandiose. But this one was fun because I can't really see the cover on mine.
I
There's
haven't, there we go.
there we go. There's an expecting couple of giants there having a baby, and Nat, our hero, or I guess our
I think that's her,
protagonist.
right?
Yeah. She's she's got a giant baby to deliver. The baby like comes out like I think the same size as like
A normal person,
an adult human. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Actually, I mean, you can see I mean, no spoilers, but they deliver a baby, and yeah. So you can see it's huge.
Yeah. But something else that happens in this one is that there's different scenes. So there is a bit of like scene hopping in this one. Whereas in the first issue, it was one story all in the hospital. But in this issue, there's a story going on in the hospital, and then there's a story going on wherever Nat's at, which I think was like, in a dark subway alley.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
So she has to give birth in this subway because that's just where the giants are at, and people come along. Stay hidden. Right. People come along and are looking for monsters, and so she has to scare them off and all that stuff. I will say I feel like there was no tonal change, but there was a narrative change, because from what I can recall, there's very little like. Well, I can see it now. There was a lot more like. It was very much focused on Natalie and her experiencing this world, and you kind of had that older gentleman who kind of played as like they were supposed to represent you in that world, meaning completely foreign, and then they can be the person
avatar.
Right, yeah. But and they didn't really have this in this episode this issue rather, because I feel like they'd just I assume that we would accept the premise and have all of our answers answered or our questions answered by the first issue.
Yeah. Well, and it's still exciting too, just with like the protagonist Nat as well too, because it does also kind of allude more to like the life of hers that we don't know about.
Right.
I can't remember if her daughter was in issue 1, but apparently Nat has a daughter.
I feel like she was maybe like slightly. I don't really super duper recall.
But like also like she hasn't let her mother know that she's gone back to this ward,
right?
To this mystical ward,
to the ward.
Oh man, looking at I'm sorry, I have all the variant covers up for Star Wars issue 25, and there's also Choose Your Destiny for Luke Skywalker.
Nice.
Should have gotten that one.
I
mean, I have his lightsaber tattooed.
Wait, there. What?
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
When did you get that?
That was one of Kate and I's like anniversary tattoos, and so she got Asajj Ventress's hilt but she had the saber color be yellow,
right?
Which I think in Dark Disciple, I think her lightsaber is yellow.
Wow.
I might be wrong, but
good on you.
But anyways, that's how we fight now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the fact that we're talking about your Star Wars tattoo says to me that we don't really have much more to say about this comic. But I'm genuinely like, I'll pick up number 3. I'll read it. It's not like something I'm super looking forward to.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little breeze.
It is.
Hopefully,
the ward it's a breezy ward.
Yeah. It's a simple read. I mean, there's a lot of fucking dialogue, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah. But again, it is Kevin Scott, and the reason that I got into it is because of Kevin Scott. Kevin Scott is another author of Star Wars books and comic books, and I've enjoyed the stories that he's told thus far. This is kind of my first foray into his work that is not Star Wars. So
yeah. It's cool that he gets to kind of make up his own characters and see what that's like, and I really enjoy him. I think he does a lot of fun. I feel like at other times I wouldn't be as forgiving of this, but it seems like a lot of these characters clearly have like history, and like there's a story happening behind it that like I think if you're writing a character, and especially if you're trying to, I don't know, sometimes it's easy for characters to seem like they were just made for this situation. Like you didn't exist before this panel and you won't exist after this panel. Like you just existed to do this thing or something like that. But I feel like all the characters in this kind of exist for a larger purpose. They all have what feels like thought out stories behind them. So like I said, I'm super excited to get into this. Not super excited. That's a lie. Did you just see me drop that comic? Trying to hang it back up.
I missed it.
We'll have to go back at the playback.
Do it again.
I'm probably going to do it again. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, let's get on to the next one. We are looking at 8 billion genies this time, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Let me pull it off my little shelf here.
I think we have the same covers.
No, we don't. Your cover's amazing.
Yeah, I was really happy with it.
I'm sticking with like the cover, like the initial covers for these, just because I do like the theme of like the genie being different and all the background being that it doesn't
the star
the little background thing. Yeah, it does a really good job of that thing we love about covers of kind of telling you the story that's inside.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I went back and maybe bought that version. Maybe maybe my shop didn't have it because I feel like I would like to say consistently. For those of you not in the know, we actually didn't even really talk about the story of the ward.
Oh, but, yeah, we didn't.
It's about a mystical ward that like a hospital ward that takes care of all kind of mythical creatures and has a lot of people who are also mythical creatures working there. I guess everyone is besides Matt.
Even if it is like a real place, we wouldn't know because there's people in the ward with powers that make humans forget that they were even there. So, so there's this whole thing of like, yeah, there's this mystical world that they try to keep hidden from the humans. And even if humans do come, there's somebody there that can take care of them, remembering it. And if you grew up in the 90s and your parents loved watching ER and you had to sit there and watch it with them sometimes, you'll love the ward.
That's funny.
And if you like Lord of the Rings and sci-fi stuff. Yeah.
So then the premise for 8 billion genies is that at one point in time, 8 billion genies, meaning the amount of people that are on the earth, 8 billion genies show up, granting everyone one wish. And the story is set around a group of people in a bar that is safe from everything that's happening. And it just kind of shows how they're migrating the world that they're experiencing. And here's what I will say. I'm pretty sure if we talked about this on the podcast, but if you go back, when this first came out, I was very hesitant about this only being 8-ish, or about this being 8 issues. I'm like, that's way too much. Most stories get boring after 6. So like, why would they try to rush it to 8? But now that we've been exploring this world, 8 issues ain't going to be enough.
Yeah, but it's pretty clear that there's a very well thought out concept to 100% the series overall. 100%. And it's just, this issue, issue 1 was the first 8 minutes, okay, so these genies appear to everybody on Earth. Everybody has one genie with one wish. Some people with the snap of their fingers make their wish, which is a very small percentage of the human population. But we're also, as each issue goes by, we're seeing the decrease in genies as well as the human population, because clearly people are making bad choices with their wish. But, so issue 1 was the first 8 minutes and what happened and all the people who made like the whim wishes, I guess. Issue 2 is the first. Yeah. The first 8 hours was issue 2. And this was people who are just like, they more had like, okay, it's been 8 hours. I have a wish. I see the world that we're beginning to live in, and my wish can do something about it. And so you have all these people kind of making, I think this is also the issue where like all the world leaders were like, we want to be the best nation in the world, but like, because they all wished it. Or was that issue 1?
2? No, it was 2.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is it's issue 2. Yeah. But issue 3, this is the first 8 days. And, this, I think, might be my favorite issue so far. It was just like, it was very exciting. One of kind of like these characters, you could tell that there was some importance to him, but in issue 1, but I would not have guessed that he would have been like the main star. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's going to continue to be the main star.
Well, that's what I was saying to. I was talking about this with my comic shop guys, and I was saying a lot of comics that do kind of slow burn intros do them over. I mean, yeah, it's very easy for to get bored. That was kind of my problem with Little Monsters, is that
Mhm.
it just took a very long time to get the ball rolling. But
Yeah.
this, I felt like they both went very slow, but filled up the content with so many different stories. I mean, I don't even know how many people are in the bar. At least 8.
Yeah.
So it's kind of dealing with all those people and the wishes that they make and all of
Yeah.
those things.
But like, even too, just outside of like the story concept, the art is very gripping to me. I mean, it's a better way to put it that I think would be more befitting to even how the covers are. It's very cosmic.
Mhm. Well,
Um,
it's very like it's 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 surreal to some degree because they're people, but they're very a little jagged edges.
yeah,
They're I don't know. It's a very good fit for the world. I'm a huge fan of the character design or the genie design rather. I think that
yeah,
how they are illustrated is fantastic.
yeah.
Um it seems very light but yeah, it's just very good stuff.
Man, I have mine open and I'm going through like the first page, and there's kind of the rule of thumb with comics. If you want to turn the first page, you probably want to read the rest of the comic, right? And this one
Sure.
is very much that way. But then you kind of get to like the intro after like the intro where it just says the first 8 days.
Mhm.
And I love like there's this guy who wanted to be the most giant man on the world apparently, and he's up here choking,
Right.
standing. And then
Yeah.
there's Doug Lands. Uh, it looks like there's a few other Earths that have popped up, like people wish to have their own Earth.
Right.
There's a giant volcano exploding. The moon has become a monster, and that was the intro of this. Is that somebody had wished that like Santa and the reindeer were real or something, and
Right.
the moon ate them as they hovered over it.
Yeah, so I mean like whoever again, let's say so this is by Charlie yeah,
Yeah, and Ryan Brown is the artist.
right.
And
And
Charles Sewell is the writer, and he's a friend of Kevin Scott's, and they are Star Wars people.
is
Oh, you're like
I don't know
you're
what just happened.
are you
That was
seeing that?
yes.
Oh,
Um
are
let me
you all
try to
right?
can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Yeah,
Let me just restart my cam. That was pretty impressive.
that was cool.
We'll see if that keeps happening. Maybe I'm gonna get a genie. Uh
Maybe.
um but
Here be dragons.
dude, I 100% what I love about this comic is that when they're outside, you can see in the background somebody's wish.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I think,
Somebody's
good
wish is always present in every panel.
right. And I
Yeah,
think that I don't know if I would say that that's probably the artist's choice more than the writer's. So either way, good on them for having such a fun imagination.
yeah,
Like again, like if we just open up to this first like illustrated page, you have Santa being eaten by the sentient moon. You have, Doug Land, like that big guy, Neptune's coming out of the water here. And, um, yeah, it's just like I'm trying to find. Oh, here, this is the panel I was looking at earlier. This guy's talking about like how he's just trying to move around, but he can't because somebody wishes that this road was alive for some whatever the fucking reason, or like maybe it's not even that they wish for the road to come alive, or maybe they just said something like, "I wish that like I could live the." I don't know. I think because these genies, they don't seem like benevolent creatures. They
yeah,
seem like they're kind of out to fuck with us. And
yeah.
I wonder if like the last wish, do you think the last wish is going to be, I wish everything was back to normal?
um, I kind of hope not.
Yeah. I don't, I think that they would have I think they have more in mind than that. And I
Yeah,
also, honest to God, like I don't see this ending at 8 and just stopping. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to make this ongoing series because even, I mean, sure, you kind of spoil it with the 8 billion genies premise, but you could say it started out as 8 billion, or we're dealing with the ramifications of 8 billion genies, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's these,
Um,
yeah.
the Yeah, I love this story, man. I'm looking at kind of when our hero kind of first appears. Also, there's a few historical people that were brought up into this issue as well that I really liked. You
Right.
know, it was kind of like there's a few people who had the wish of like I would love. I mean, like for me, I'll just go with one of mine, I guess. But like, I would love to sit down and have dinner with. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. He was the chef. The chef.
Chef from South Park.
No,
Um,
Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain. Okay, yeah, I
Like
was
I
gonna
would
say,
love. Like I love that guy's show. You know, like I ate it up. We'll say.
wow,
Yeah.
good job.
But you know, like it would just be so cool to like be able to like wish him back
Mhm.
and be like, I just want to have a meal with him. And
Yeah,
just, you know, go to another country and sit down and have a meal with this guy and pick his brain.
right.
And so like you kind of got that in there, but then our main protagonist of this issue, whose name is Wong.
Well, hold on.
Who,
Before you go
oh yeah.
past those,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to say something about they don't just, it's not just for, and this is like, again, a compliment to the writing, is that they don't just, they don't bring in these characters of, you know, some people, like Mark just said, some people get wished back to life, and they don't just get brought back in to just have a fun, like, oh, isn't that
Oh
cool that
yeah.
these characters showed up, but they actually exist to tell part of the story. and
Yeah.
i and I don't mean that they like narrative explain, but things happen to them that I won't spoil, but it is something that is clearly
Again,
going a
yeah.
ramification for some of
The
the other
the
people in that room.
It's again, it's very clear that like this series has been very well thought out. They've tried to cover their bases. So if there's any like loopholes on like what people could wish for, like they've kind of filled those answers in.
Mm.
And it's just been exciting. And can I get to Wong now?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Sorry
like
about that.
Wong made a wish last issue that he would be equipped with whatever he needed to survive this world, this new world, which is
Mm.
a great wish because he gets this really cool armor. You can kind of see him on my cover here. Like that's his mask, but he gets this like really cool
I might be able to
armor.
find a picture of him.
He's you know, I believe he's of Chinese descent.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to America for an interview for a new job, which we get to see more of the details of what that is in this issue. But he like automatically like learns how to speak English like clearly because he's in America. Like so he
Mm-hmm.
does just get equipped with everything that he needs to survive this world. And he gets in a fight with my favorite mythical creature, the vampire, because some
Hey.
guy wished that he wanted to be a vampire. And yeah, that's the page I have it open to as well.
Yeah. So I mean, there's the vampire over there. It's just such a good premise. Like, it's so
Yeah.
great. I think, fuck, man, you could do like a spin-off and just have like a whole other different thing, you know? Like,
You could pick any character that's been living in this world, and then like again, you know, like we mentioned, it shows like that there's a body count, and
yeah,
you know, eight
back to the
eight
B.
8 days in, we've already lost 2 billion people, and
So,
this is
yes.
also kind of like a testament in a way. Maybe I might be stretching this, but like this is just kind of showing how we humans are the greatest virus this planet has.
Ooh, I disagree with you, but we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah, that's for the other podcast.
That doesn't exist. Just the off mic conversations. I understand what you mean.
Yeah. That's I hope you understand what I mean because yeah, we
Mhm.
might not be the greatest virus, but like
We're not
we're
great.
essentially destroying ourselves,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of this series seems to be getting into, but in a playful, exciting way.
That's very
Um,
true. It does kind of highlight the a lot of the whims. I mean, because my cover I think would show a little bit more of that, of
mhm.
how that like this is what this world looks like.
It shows
So-
the reality of the human needs to be spelled with an asterisk at the end.
Good. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a really good comic. If you're listening to this, watching this, and you aren't on this, I would highly suggest jumping on.
I
It's so much
also
fun.
believe too, and I think I mentioned this last episode when we talked about issue 2. I read an article that Image kind of broke one of their own rules and had to do a reprint of issue 1 because it gained so much ground.
Really, I hadn't heard about that, but I really wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Well, there
And
you
it
go.
also, and another thing I want to mention too, at the end of every issue, a lot of times what comic publishers will do is they'll have a writing team, and Charles Soule and Ryan Brown are a writing team. They have another series that came out during 2017, 2019, and it's been advertised in the back of all these 8 billion genies.
Oh, I
And
didn't. Curse
it's
words?
called,
No.
yeah, curse words. Yeah.
Curse words, that's them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That does look good.
I want to, if anybody listening has read Curse Words, I would love to hear what you think about it, because I'm considering getting some of the trade
Well,
paperback
apparently they have a
volumes.
760-page omnibus. Omnibus? Omnibus.
Whatever. Omnibus.
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 The always present bus.
Let's do a few more takes. Omnibus.
Omnibus.
That was good enough. We nailed it.
That was a few more too.
Yeah.
Do you have any other comic you want to talk about, bud?
Yeah.
Do you want to pull something up? I have something in mind that I could talk about. Or go ahead. You're already reaching.
Yeah. Well, I'll reach this one. So this came out last week while I was on my trip. I've been highlighting this series, but it's West of Sundown issue 4. I really like this issue. Yeah, I'm still on it.
Awesome.
I'm still liking it.
Great.
Still, to me, I think issue 1 was just issue 1 might still be my favorite issue out of them all, but like the sequential issues have been unpacking the story of issue 1, and this one does a really good job. The art's really great to me. I love the concept of, classic horror and classic Western being meshed together. But like in this issue, we see our protagonist, Miss Derbent. She finally gets back to like her homeland, where like this is where the series is building up to, like her place of origin, I should say. And she's healed and everything, but when she wakes up from being healed, she's able to stand out in daylight, which she can't because she's a vampire. And they realize that they're in kind of like, I don't think it's exactly this, but just for Stranger Things people, it's kind of like an upside down type world, which is like where apparently all of like the mythology comes from, is this kind of like other like mirrored world.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so she finds herself in there, and she but they have to escape it, obviously. But yeah, it was kind of cool just to see like this is her origin, and this is the history that she didn't know of herself. All went back to this like mirrored world in a sense. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. I didn't know the artists super well going into this series, but I'm really digging it. And again, it is horror, and horror is real hot with me right now, and I think it's just hot in general with a lot of people. So yeah, and the covers of these are always just so wonderful.
They're like,
I don't know if you can tell from what I'm holding up, but it looks like it's been like folded and creased.
Yeah. I like that. So. It's very grindhousey, which I've said before. Yeah. But that's just very much what that reminds me of, which honestly, let's bring back Grindhouse. Yeah. Like, and just, I think shorter films would be really fun. I mean, I can't justify going to the movies for shorter films, but like fucking put them on Netflix, like, or just have like an own streaming service for like Grindhouse type stuff. Just shorter, just action packed, or just shorter, just stories. Yeah. But I'm glad you're liking that, man.
Yeah. Because you dropped it, right?
Yeah, I just wasn't for me. Again, like vampires really aren't my thing. But so I think to get like a good story, it needs to be a good story. Like it needs to be something that really draws me in.
Yeah. Well, it's also not just vampires. Like we're getting
that's true.
all the other kind of classic horror monsters are like showing up and making appearances.
Right. I forgot about that. Sorry about that. That there's a crossover between that it's the isn't the premise that like America is still deciding its monsters kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I think I like everything in premise, but I just have a very hard time just swallowing like classic American mythology things because I just have a hard time being like, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't have a good relationship with those things, and I was more of like connected to like newer mythology in the sense of like Iron Man and like all of those kind of characters, you know, or
Yeah.
the archetypes of comic book characters rather than the archetype of traditional American horror. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you.
I'm trying to make a good segue into the comic that I want to talk. I guess I don't know, but I read 6 volumes of The Boys over the past week.
Wow.
Yeah.
I read volume 1. Like,
What'd you think?
I really liked it, but I was also just I think at the time when I read it, it was just I was pretty busy, and then I was like, whatever, the shows are coming out, and it's too far gone for me to get into the comics. But that's never true. But
well, I read it on Comixology, so I burnt through it.
nice.
Like I've said this before, if you're looking to just consume
A series.
yeah, I see. I think there's two of my favorite ways to consume comics is en masse, like find one that I really love and just burn right through it,
Yeah.
or have something like that Texas Blood, which is I look forward to it coming out every month. The enjoyment of that coming out is, or the enjoyment of me reading that is built upon the fact that it's been a month since I've gotten my grimy little hands on it.
Right.
And I'm just so excited to get into it and to explore that world, you know. And so those are kind of the two ways that I really enjoy comics. And so this I just found was I'm a huge fan of the artist who I can't remember at the moment, but it's by Eric. I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote it either. Oh Lord, I'll look those up real quick. But I've just kind of been like following the show tangentially because I just don't have time to watch it. So I've mostly just been what are you laughing about?
Oh, I just with the latest season, did I tell you my story of Kate and I watched episode 1?
Yeah, I think we talked about that either on here or off mic. But I mean, the comics really the comic is crasser than the show. I'm pretty sure
That I've heard that.
Yeah, and yeah, because I think with comics you don't have to pull your punches as much because it's not a real person doing the thing.
The thing about comic, this is what I've been telling people about comics. You get a lot more story out of a comic than you do an hour-long TV show. Just because like, and even I think it was like an interview that I read with either Sewell or oh my gosh, Scott, Kevin Scott. It was one of them, and like they're like multimedia storytellers. They don't just do comics. I mean, obviously I've mentioned they do novels, but I think they do a bit of like script writing as well, possibly. But like they were just talking about how their favorite way to tell stories is through comics. And it may not have been one of those two guys, but the person that I was reading the article about, like they were just talking about like writing a comic is just so much more fun because it's such like a systematic thing, and it's just like a kind of choose your own destiny like experience for like writing it, because you have so many pages to fill, so many panels to fill, like how much dialogue do you put in it, how much of the story is told by the art, and in the way our brains process things, like being able to sit and stare at a comic for 15 minutes and like really absorb like the dialogue in the comic, like you also in your own mind like expand upon that story. And I think with movies and TV shows, like though as great as they may be and fun to go see, they don't, and I guess for me, like they stick with me, but not as much as like a lot of comics do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I mean, I think it's a great storytelling medium, hence why I donate a great portion of my income to collecting them and putting
Yeah.
them up on the wall.
Yep.
But I just want to say that I mean, I'm sure everyone is familiar with The Boys, but that is by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson.
Yeah.
It's grimy, it's gritty. I don't think it's for everybody. I really
Yeah.
don't.
Well, I mean, they even say that about the show. I mean, like, was it like, I mean, I kind of followed the chatter about the latest season, but like they said episode 6 is not suitable for any audience.
Yeah, and I would say that the comic is not suitable for any audience. I
Yeah.
didn't watch much of that episode. I guess I need to watch more of that one because I just watched clips from it because again, I
Yeah.
just like don't have time to. I'll just like read the art, like the episode description
That's how my kids know stories.
through like Wikipedia
Like,
descriptions.
yeah, like my
Interesting.
son, no, not he like watches like TikTok and YouTube videos on people's just like, I'm gonna fit this whole story into a shorter like bubble.
Okay.
And like, so he'll like tell me something like, when did you watch that? He's like, oh, I didn't watch it. I'm like, well, how do you know that happened? And he's like, oh, I saw it on TikTok. I'm like, oh, all right.
TikTok. What a crazy thing. Go
Yeah.
follow us on TikTok. We'll spoil things for you.
Yeah.
That's not true. I don't know why I said that. I guess I was trying to make it connected to TV. But
Yeah.
I have like one more comic I'm going to mention. Do you have anything else you want to chat about?
I have one more I want to put a little bit of focus on that
Sure,
I
go ahead.
really liked. But before I get into that, I just want to mention Bounty Hunters is something else that I've mentioned already that I really like. This issue is super fun because you have all the bounty hunters going up against the Knights of Ren. One of my favorite sequel trilogy like stories from canon. It doesn't have to do with the sequel trilogy; it just has to do with Kylo Ren and how he became like the leader of the Knights of Ren. And that's a story arc. I think it's 5 issues, and that was super fun. But the Knights of Ren go up against all the bounty hunters in this issue, and it was just like a very like action-packed, fun issue. Very Star Wars, like what you want out of Star Wars.
That's great.
And then I have one more Star Wars to talk about. The Mandalorian series started.
Oh, is it good?
So I wish I had like. Okay, no, that sounds bad. It is good. Because I'll tell you what. If you like the series, you're gonna like the comic because the comic is the series. So issue 1 here is the comic book version of episode 1 of season 1 of The Mandalorian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the art is what I like about it. It reminds me of like the 1970s like Star Wars comics.
That sounds good. Oh,
Yeah,
damn it.
but
Maybe
I
I
also
should just pick
got
up issue 1.
I also got a variant cover of it, so I wanted to show that off as well.
That's fantastic.
So yeah,
Oh, Mark.
it's the whole meeting of Mandalorian meets the baby. I want to see the baby.
I want to see that baby. Oh God, I want to read that comic now.
Yeah, but the last one that I got here that I want to talk about is There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd.
Okay.
This is such an interesting.
Can you show me the cover?
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have said that earlier.
Let me hold it like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I remember it now.
Yeah.
So I remember that name, but that helped.
So Patrick Todd is like, I don't know, he's probably like 14, 15, 16 years old. And like, he's not the first person that we meet in the comic, though. The first person we meet is this kind of like average Joe guy who has kind of a dark side that he doesn't let out to the rest of the world, and like just kind of get nitty gritty with it. But I think he might have been a pedophile.
Classic.
But he's robbing a bank. That's how this opens up. He's pulling a heist off at a bank, and even while he's like robbing the bank, he's like telling the clerk, like, this isn't like something I do. Like, I can't control what I'm doing right now, but like, I have to rob this bank. Like, please don't press any buttons or anything. I'm gonna have to come back and kill you, blah, blah, blah. The normal bank heist stuff. Sure. And anyways, so what he does is he gets 2 bags of money, and he tells her, don't put one of those ink bombs in there. Like, that's what he says. Like, if you do that, I'm going to come back and kill you. well, she did put one in there, and he didn't go back and kill her. He just used it as a threat. But he was just like, you try to be nice to people, and you try to put some trust in people, and they go do something like that.
That's funny.
But anyways, so only one of the bags, because clerks only have one bag, and he'd asked, or only one of those ink bombs, and so that's why he asked for 2 bags. And so he drops the inked one, and he takes the other bag to Patrick Todd. And Patrick Todd has mind manipulating powers, it turns out. But he only does this to people who have like this seedy dark side, like being a pedophile, or like
right.
they're in the underbelly of the world and not making the world a better place. And so he gets all those people, and like a teenager, he's leaving a track, and like, so the police are starting to catch on. Like I think that the guy in this one, the pedophile or whatever, was like the 10th person who had like robbed a bank, and then and he tells them to go turn themselves in, but not for the bank robbery, but for what he knows that they did.
Oh, wow.
That's so cool. They spill the beans on like the whole bank robbery too, but then they also like, but I also do this, and this, and gets them booked for that. And so now, but the cops are like, this is like the 10th time that this has happened in this same city, which is like telling me, he's like, yeah, that's something probably a 15, 16-year-old kid would do, is like not really think that through. But he's trying to, but it also appears that Patrick Todd's mom is like sick. And so he's trying to like get money to take care of her, I think. But the whole first issue just, I mean, in a way, it kind of proves what I was saying about a comic. There's so much story that could be told in one issue of a comic. And this one also just showed like what a comic book is capable of doing. And so I highly recommend anybody pick up There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd.
I might have to do that. Who's that? Yeah. What's the publisher again?
It's put out by Aftershock, which we love. Aftershock.
I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, damn it, you keep convincing me to want to buy comics.
Yeah. So that I'm not familiar with the. Oh, actually, no. Sorry. We know this from when I introduced it from my poll list a couple weeks ago, but I was mostly drawn to this as well. The cover was great, but also I've been trying to pay attention to a certain letterer, and his name is Hassan Atsmain Allahu. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. I apologize. Yeah, but I've noticed his lettering, and that's just something I'm trying to get better at with comics, is like paying attention to how lettering is done. And so this is the letterer that I have chosen to follow, because I've noticed that I picked up a few of his without realizing it, and now his name kind of pops out to me. But
that's a hell of a name. Of course it would.
Yeah. But it's written by Ed Brisson. I don't think I have anything of his previously.
That sounds familiar to me. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
He's done some Deathstroke issues. He's got the kind of like the normal repertoire of, he's got a lot of either Marvel or DC, and then a lot of Image, and then here and there with some other independent publishers. But yeah, it looks like I'm digging it. And the artist is Gavin Guthrie.
Okay.
And another name I'm not super familiar with.
Yeah.
And he seems to have a little bit less of he doesn't have a whole collection. That's not the word. Portfolio.
Yeah. Does it?
Yeah.
Huh?
He's according to the Comic Geeks, I've talked about one of the downfalls of the Comic Geeks is they don't have everything in it. It's not like a perfect database, but on here it just shows he's really only done a lot of independent publishing.
Nice. Good on him.
He's done some Ninja Turtles.
There you go.
So,
well, I mean, but Ninja Turtles are usually like Dark Horse or IDW,
right?
So that's kind of indie.
But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I recommend anybody pick it up. And that's all I got.
I was going to talk about New Think number 2.
I think I'm going to wait. We discovered that I didn't get mine.
Yeah, so I'm gonna wait until you read it. If you're planning on, if not, I can just do it some other time. But I
No,
would, yeah,
I'll probably ask my shop to get it for me still, but I might just go ahead and purchase the digital copy so I can get it read.
yeah, um, yeah. I would say read the digital copy first. But
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything else. But I feel like you and I will have different opinions on this, and I'm excited to have that
Well,
conversation.
I think we had different opinions on issue 1.
We did.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm curious to see if we would continue to have different opinions.
What cover did you get?
I really like the cover that I got. This one right here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So it is beautiful, but I don't want to go into it too far.
Yeah,
We
no
will
worries.
we'll have that as a spoiler for next week. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
We will definitely talk about New Think next week.
We didn't really have much overlap, so there's probably not going to be much in terms of us going over. It's probably just going to be a lot of talking about individual comics. Maybe we'll try to find something that we can both read. But well, do you mind if I land this bird?
Well, let's land this bird. You land that. I'm actually going to look at what I got coming out next week.
There you go.
It's
Friends,
a small list.
Pals. Well, I'm trying to keep mine all about the same size of like either 5 or 6, because I'm not going to read more than that in a week. Yeah. Unless it's like something that I love, and then like there's something that I'm curious about. I kind of just set myself around that, or else I just get too many like issue number 1 sitting that I never get to. And I want to get to them, but just how this shit rolls. But speaking of rolling, baby, keep on rolling, and you can keep on rolling. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Let's roll on out of here. Friends, pals, thank you so much for hanging out with us, for coming along, listen to us chinwag about some comics. Make sure that you follow us wherever you're listening to. If you're listening to the audio, subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple and on Anchor, or you can check us out on YouTube. We're also on Twitch. We got a new follower on Twitch during this stream, so that's very exciting. Yes. We're doing it. Follower. Go ahead and just follow us on, I think I said YouTube already. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're on everything. And it's just all pullboxpals. So if you know how to be here, you know how to use the internet. Make sure that you check out Tornado Tag Us tomorrow. Yesterday, Anthony Blackwell and Heidi Blackwell did a Not Cool in High School podcast together. I think that might just be their podcast now. I can't remember.
Is that the movie one?
It's kind of like it's pop culture.
Oh. Yeah. I need to listen to that one.
Yeah, they're such a fun couple. So, it's really cool that they're dynamic, and so go ahead, give that a listen. We have linked in our description is our link tree. So we have the IWEP Network website is linked there, so you can get a link to all of the other podcasts. You can get a link to everything else that they do. And we're grateful to be a part of that. We're grateful for you coming and hanging out. The audio will be up soon if you're watching the video. And if you're listening to the audio, go check out the video. And I think I said it all. Mark, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor.
It has. It's an honor to serve beside you in comics.
All right. Let's end on that one.
All right.
See you,
cheers,
everybody.
Bye.